The grand hall of the imperial palace fell silent as Emperor Julkarn entered. 50 high-ranking officers stood at attention, their colorful uniforms showing their status in the Axian Empire. The emperor walked slowly to his throne, his four eyes scanning the crowd. For 3,000 years, he began, his voice echoing in the hall. No species has defeated an imperial fleet on first contact. He paused, his anger clear on his face. Until now. The officers shifted uncomfortably. News of the defeat had spread quickly through the empire. General Tark, called the emperor. A tall Axian with battle scars across his face stepped forward. He was the empire's most decorated commander, with 117 victories to his name. Your Majesty, he said with a bow, you will lead our response to this. Earth. Take the 7th Battle Group. Show these humans the true might of the Axian Empire. General Tark nodded. The 7th Battle Group consisted of 200 warships, including 3 planet destroyers. It was enough firepower to conquer an entire sector. We will leave at once, Your Majesty. I promise you this Earth will be just another name on our list of conquests before the cycle's end. Captain Taewon Kim stood before Earth's Defense Council in the underground headquarters beneath the Pacific Ocean. The circular room held 12 people, representing each major region of the unified Earth government. Captain, your report is troubling, said General Hanyul, the head of the council. You believe the Empire will return? Yes, General, and in much greater numbers, Kim replied. The Axian Empire has never tolerated resistance. Based on the intelligence we've gathered over the years, they'll likely send a full battle group. Ambassador Ji Young, the council's diplomatic expert, spoke up. And our actual military strength cannot match such a force, correct? Kim nodded. Earth had only 30 ships in total. They were advanced, but numbers still mattered in space combat. Then we must continue with our deception, said General Hanyul. Operation Shadow Fleet is our only hope. The room grew quiet. Operation Shadow Fleet was Earth's master plan, a strategy of deception that would make the Empire believe humanity was far more powerful than it actually was. Captain Kim, you will lead the space defense, ordered General Hanyul. Lieutenant Sujin, your team will handle the intelligence mission. Lieutenant Sujin stood. She was Earth's best intelligence officer, known for her quick thinking and calm under pressure. We captured an Imperial communications relay during the first battle, she said. My team can use it to plant false information in the Empire's network. What kind of false information? Asked Ambassador Ji Young. Sujin's eyes gleamed with determination. We'll make them believe that Earth has thousands of colony worlds and a massive fleet spread across several neighboring galaxies. That what they've seen so far is just our advance force. 3 days later, Lieutenant Sujin and her team of 5 intelligence officers approached the captured Imperial relay station in a small, unmarked ship. The station floated in space at the edge of the solar system, its systems still operational. Remember, Sujin told her team, we have approximately 20 minutes before the Imperial network detects unauthorized access. Work quickly. They docked with the station and moved inside, connecting their computers to the Imperial systems. Officer Do-hyun, their best programmer, began typing rapidly. Their security is complex, he muttered, but not as good as they think. Sujin watched the progress bar on her tablet. They were uploading a carefully crafted set of false communications, reports, and fleet movements, all designed to create the illusion of a massive human military presence. Halfway there, announced Do-hyun. No detection yet. Just then, the station's lights flickered. An alarm began to sound. They've detected us, said Sujin calmly. How much longer? 3 more minutes, replied Do-hyun, his fingers flying over the keyboard. We may not have 3 minutes, said Officer Jun-ho, watching as a small Imperial patrol ship appeared on their sensors. Company's coming. Sujin made a quick decision. Finish the upload. I'll distract them. She rushed back to their ship and powered up the engines. The small craft detached from the station and moved toward the approaching Imperial vessel. Sujin opened a channel. Imperial vessel. This is trading ship Aurora requesting assistance. We've detected anomalies in this sector and stopped to investigate. There was a pause before the Imperial ship responded. Trading ship Aurora, this is a restricted Imperial zone. Identify your species and purpose. Sujin kept them talking, using every delay tactic she could think of. On her comm, she heard Do-hyun's voice. Upload complete. We're heading to the extraction point. Understood, she replied quietly, then addressed the Imperial ship again. We apologize for the intrusion. We're leaving the area now. She turned her ship around and accelerated away from the station. The Imperial vessel followed for a short distance but didn't pursue aggressively. They didn't realize what had just happened, that humanity had just planted the seeds of deception in the heart of their network. 1 week later, General Tark's battle group arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system. 200 warships moved in perfect formation, their weapons charged and ready. Scan the system, ordered Tark from the bridge of his flagship, the Conqueror. Scanning, General, replied his sensor officer. That's strange. I'm detecting unusual energy patterns around the fourth planet. What kind of patterns? It almost looks like cloaking technology, but it's different from anything in our database. General Tark frowned. The Empire had encountered cloaking technology before, but it was rare and usually ineffective against Imperial sensors. Continue approach, he ordered. Prepare all weapons. As the battle group moved deeper into the solar system, the sensor officer reported again. General, I'm detecting ships near the planet they call Mars. Approximately 30 vessels. Tarky smiled. Only 30? This will be over quickly. Then the officer's voice rose in pitch. Wait, I'm detecting more ships appearing from behind the planet's moons. 50. No, 70 ships now visible. Tark leaned forward. Show me. The main screen displayed the Earth fleet, a collection of sleek, advanced-looking vessels emerging from various hiding places around the fourth planet, but something seemed off about the readings. Send a tight beam communication to their fleet, ordered Tark. Let's see who we're dealing with. Captain Kim sat on the bridge of the horizon, watching as the massive Imperial battle group approached. Earth had deployed all 30 of its real ships, but thanks to advanced holographic technology and sensor manipulators, the Imperial sensors were detecting many more. They're hailing us, reported Jiho. Put them through, said Kim. The face of an Axian commander appeared on the screen. His 4 eyes narrowed as he spoke. This is General Tark of the Axian Empire. Your pathetic deception is obvious. Surrender now, or face complete destruction. Kim smiled calmly. General Tark, this is Captain Kim of Earth's Outer Defense Fleet. We have no interest in surrender, and I should warn you, what you're seeing is just our Mars Defense Division. Our main battle groups are still mobilizing. As Kim spoke, Lieutenant Minho activated the next phase of Operation Shadow Fleet. Dozens more holographic ships appeared on Imperial sensors, seemingly emerging from behind Earth's moon and the asteroid belt. On the screen, General Tark's expression showed the first hint of uncertainty. You cannot hope to stand against the might of the Axian Empire, he said, but his voice lacked the confidence from moments before. Perhaps, replied Kim. But are you willing to risk your battle group to find out? Especially when, as I told your predecessor, the real army hasn't even arrived yet. The stars were quiet in this part of the galaxy. Too quiet, thought Fleet Commander Drez as he stared at the view screen. His reconnaissance fleet of 20 ships had been sent to investigate a strange signal from an unmarked solar system at the edge of the Axian Empire's territory. Report, he ordered. 8 planets, Commander. The third one shows signs of civilization, said his second-in-command. Energy readings suggest primitive technology, nothing that should worry the Empire. The Axian Empire had ruled for over 3,000 years. They had conquered more than 200 species across 70% of the galaxy. First contact always followed the same pattern. Show overwhelming force, demand surrender, and add another world to the Empire's growing list of possessions. Prepare the standard greeting, Drez said with a bored tone. This would be routine. Captain Taewon Kim was not having a good day. The alarm had woken him from his first real sleep in 48 hours. Earth's long-range scanners had picked up the alien ships entering the solar system. Status report, he said as he entered the command center of the orbital defense station. 20. Ships, Captain, said Lieutenant Sujin. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel. They match no known design in our database. They're heading straight for Earth. Kim nodded. Humanity had known about alien life for decades, but had chosen to stay hidden, watching and learning from a distance. They had captured alien communications, studied their technology, and prepared in secret. Earth had united under a single government, after centuries of fighting among themselves, knowing they needed to stand together when this day came. Alert the Defense Council, he ordered, and prepare the patrol ships for launch. The Earth Defense Force consisted of only 30 ships, not because humans couldn't build more, but because they had focused on quality over quantity. Each ship contained technology that was a mix of human innovation and reverse-engineered alien systems. Captain Kim's ship, the Horizon, led the small fleet of 5 patrol vessels that moved to intercept the alien forces. The rest of Earth's fleet remained hidden, scattered around the solar system. They're broadcasting something, reported Communications Officer Jiho. Put it through, ordered Kim. A harsh voice filled the bridge. The language was unknown, but thanks to years of intercepting alien communications, their computers could translate. Primitive, species of the third planet. This is Fleet Commander Drez of the Axian Empire. Your world is now part of our territory. Surrender immediately and prepare for occupation. Resistance will result in planetary bombardment. The bridge crew looked at Captain Kim. He straightened his uniform and gave a small smile. Open a channel, he said. When Jiho nodded, Kim spoke clearly. This is Captain Tae-Won Kim of the Earth Defense Force. We respectfully decline your offer. Fleet. Commander Drez couldn't believe what he was hearing. The primitives were refusing to surrender. It was unheard of. They've launched 5 small vessels, reported his tactical officer. Primitive design, minimal weapons. Drez laughed. They send toys against an Imperial fleet? Fire warning shots? Show them our power. The Imperial ships fired energy beams that lit up space. To Drez's surprise, the small Earth vessels moved with incredible speed, dodging the attacks with ease. Impossible, he muttered. No primitive species has maneuverability like that. Then the Earth ships fired back. Their weapons weren't particularly powerful, but they hit with perfect accuracy, targeting sensor arrays and communication systems. They're attacking in a coordinated pattern, said the tactical officer, surprise in his voice. These aren't random strikes, they know exactly where to hit us. In the Horizon's bridge, Captain Kim watched the battle unfold. Earth's ships were smaller and less armed than the alien vessels, but they had 2 advantages: speed and intelligence. For years, Earth had studied alien technology through secret observation posts. They knew the weaknesses of standard Imperial ship design. Target their communication arrays first, Kim ordered. Then their sensor systems. The 5 Earth ships moved in perfect formation, striking quickly and pulling back before the larger Imperial vessels could respond effectively. It was like watching flies attack a group of bears. Annoying, persistent, and surprisingly effective. They're trying to surround us, reported Tactical Officer Minho. Standard Imperial encirclement pattern. Kim nodded. Just as we expected. Execute Operation Hornet's Nest. Fleet Commander Drez was growing angry. The primitives weren't just resisting, they were fighting with unexpected skill. 3 of his ships had lost communications, and 5 more had damaged sensors. Enough games, he growled. Full attack pattern, destroy those ships. The Imperial fleet moved to surround the 5 Earth vessels. Victory was certain now. No small group could withstand the firepower of 20 Imperial warships. That's when his sensor officer shouted in alarm. Commander, new contacts appearing. Behind us! Drez spun to look at the display. 10 more Earthships had appeared from behind Mars, cutting off his fleet's retreat path. How had they hidden there? Imperial sensors should have detected them. More contacts coming from the planet's moon. Another 8 Earthships emerged from behind Earth's moon, their weapons already firing. The Imperial fleet was now caught between 3 groups of human vessels. Captain Kim watched as the alien ships tried to regroup. The ambush was working perfectly. Earth's ships weren't actually more numerous. They were just appearing in different places thanks to a clever use of the Planets and moons for cover, combined with advanced stealth technology. They're breaking formation, reported Minho. 2 of their ships are attempting to retreat. Target their engines, ordered Kim. Don't let them escape. Earth's vessels concentrated fire on the fleeing ships. One exploded in a bright flash. The other was crippled, drifting in space. Fleet Commander Drez couldn't understand what was happening. How could a primitive species fight with such coordination? How could they know Imperial tactics so well? 5 ships lost, Commander, reported his second-in-command. 7 more heavily damaged. We can't maintain battle formation. Drez's hand trembled with rage as he gave the order he never thought he'd give. Signal retreat. All ships jumped to hyperspace immediately. As the Imperial fleet turned to flee, a final message came through from the Earth vessel. Fleet Commander Drez, came Captain Kim's calm voice. Consider this a friendly warning. What you faced today was just our border patrol. The real army hasn't even arrived yet. Back on the Imperial capital world 3 days later, Emperor Julkarn listened to Fleet Commander Drez's report with growing anger. You lost 8 ships to a primitive species? The Emperor asked, his voice dangerously. Quiet. They weren't primitive, Your Majesty, Drez insisted. They knew our tactics. They had technology that could hide their ships from our sensors. And their captain claimed... He hesitated. Claimed what? He claimed that we only fought their border patrol. He said their real army hasn't even arrived yet. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. No newly discovered species has ever defeated an Imperial fleet. I want answers, and I want that planet. In the war room, the Emperor's most decorated general, General Tark, was already planning the response. The Axian Empire had never tolerated resistance. This Earth would soon learn the price of defiance. Little did they know, Captain Kim was, at that very moment, reporting to Earth's Defense Council about the success of their first encounter and the deception that was only beginning. General Tark paced the bridge of his flagship, the Conqueror. Something was wrong, very wrong. The human ships kept appearing and disappearing from his sensors. One moment his officers would report 200 enemy vessels, the next only 50. It made no sense. Report, he barked at his sensor officer. General, the humans are using some kind of technology that confuses our systems. The officer replied. We can't get accurate readings on their fleet size or positions. Tark slammed his fist on the command console. In his 300 years of military service, he had never encountered such frustrating enemies. Move the fleet closer to their home planet, he ordered. Prepare the planet destroyers. Sometimes the simplest solution is best. As the Imperial battle group moved toward Earth, strange things began to happen. Navigation systems started showing incorrect data. Communications between ships became distorted. Weapon systems went offline and came back on without explanation. What is happening to my fleet? Tark demanded. His chief engineer looked deeply troubled. General, the humans must be using some kind of system-wide interference technology. They're affecting our ship's basic functions. Impossible, Tark growled. No species has that capability. But as more systems failed across his fleet, doubt began to creep into his mind. On Earth, in the underground command center, Lieutenant Do-hyun worked at his station. Sweat covered his forehead as his fingers flew across the control panel. Around him, 50 other technicians worked just as hard. The electronic warfare systems are working perfectly, he reported to Captain Kim, who stood behind him. The Empire's ships are experiencing system-wide failures. Kim nodded with satisfaction. Earth's greatest advantage wasn't their small fleet of ships. It was their advanced understanding of technology. For decades, humans had studied alien systems from a distance. They had learned how Imperial technology worked, and more importantly, how to disrupt it. General Hanul is calling, said Communications Officer Ji-ho. Kim moved to the main screen where the general's face appeared. Captain, how goes the battle? Asked Hanul. The Empire is confused and frustrated, replied Kim. Their fleet is 3 times more powerful than we expected, but they can't use that power effectively. Our electronic countermeasures are keeping them disorganized. Excellent, said the general. Ambassador Ji Young reports that our agent on the imperial capital has begun spreading rumors. The seeds of doubt are being planted. Kim smiled. The plan was working. Jinho Kang adjusted his merchant's robes as he walked through the bustling marketplace of the imperial capital planet. For 5 years he had lived among the Axians, posing as a trader from a distant world. In reality, he was one of Earth's most skilled intelligence officers. He stopped at a popular food stall where many imperial military personnel gathered after their shifts. "Have you heard the latest?" he asked the Axian server, loud enough for others to hear. "They say the humans have defeated General Tark's advance fleet." The server's 4 eyes widened. "Impossible. The 7th battle group is invincible." "That's what they said about Fleet Commander Drez's ships," replied Jinho with a shrug. "Yet the humans destroyed them. My trading partner from the Centauri sector says the humans have colonies in 3 galaxies. 2 Imperial officers at a nearby table were listening now. Jinho pretended not to notice them. "My cousin serves on a border outpost," the server said quietly. "He told me strange reports are coming in, ships that appear and disappear, transmissions about massive fleets moving between stars." Jinho nodded seriously. "The Human Federation is ancient and powerful. The Empire has awakened a sleeping giant. He walked away. He heard the officers whispering urgently to each other. Jinho smiled to himself. His work here was done for today. Tomorrow he would visit the spaceport and spread more rumors there. Back in Earth's solar system, Captain Kim had taken the Horizon and 4 other ships on a daring mission, while the main Earth fleet kept the Imperial forces distracted with holographic projections and electronic warfare. Kim's small group slipped past their defenses. "Target in range," reported Lieutenant Minho. "It's the Imperial command ship." "Perfect," said Kim. "Execute attack pattern Delta." The 5 Earth ships suddenly accelerated to incredible speeds, moving so fast that Imperial gunners couldn't track them effectively. They streaked past the outer defenses of the Imperial fleet, firing precisely at communication arrays and sensor systems on key ships. "Hit and run only," Kim reminded his crew. "Don't stay in one place long enough for them to lock weapons." The Horizon shook as it absorbed a glancing blow from an Imperial cruiser. "Damage report," Kim called out. "Minor damage to the outer hull," reported Engineer Seo Jin. "Shields holding at 87%. "Captain," called Jiho from communications, "I'm picking up confused chatter from the Imperial fleet. They think we're the advanced ships of a larger attack force coming from behind Jupiter." Kim smiled. That was exactly what they wanted the Empire to think. In reality, there was no larger attack force, just more holographic projections and sensor ghosts created by Earth's technology. "Continue the attack run," Kim ordered. "Target their flagship's main sensor array." On the bridge of the Conqueror, General Tark was losing his composure. Nothing made sense anymore. His sensor officers reported human ships attacking from multiple directions simultaneously. His communications officer couldn't maintain clear contact with half the fleet. 3 of his planet destroyers were reporting critical system failures. "General," called his second-in-command. "New contact detected beyond the gas giant they call Jupiter." "What now?" growled Tark. "Sir, it appears to be a massive energy signature, bigger than anything we've ever encountered." Tark moved to the sensor display. What he saw made his blood run cold. The readings showed what appeared to be a fleet of thousands of ships emerging from behind the gas giant. "That's impossible," he whispered. "No species has a fleet that large." But the readings were clear, and worse. Communications from across the Empire were reporting similar findings. Intercepted messages spoke of human fleets massing at the borders of Imperial space. Reports from intelligence agents mentioned colonies on thousands of worlds spanning multiple galaxies. For the first time in his long military career, General Tark felt fear. "Sir," said his communications officer, "we're receiving a message from the human captain." "Put it through," Tark ordered, his voice quieter than before. Captain Kim's face appeared on the screen. He looked calm, confident. General Tark, said Kim. Your fleet is surrounded, your systems are compromised, and you've seen only a fraction of our capabilities. I'll offer you something the Empire rarely gives others, a chance to retreat with your forces intact. Tark's four eyes narrowed. You think I fear your deceptions, human? The Empire has ruled this galaxy for 3,000 years. We do not retreat. Kim nodded as if he expected this answer. Very well. But remember, General, what you've faced so far is just our defensive force. As I told your predecessor, the real army hasn't even arrived yet. He paused, then added, but now, they're coming. As the transmission ended, the sensor readings of the massive fleet behind Jupiter began to move. Thousands of ships, advancing toward the Imperial battle group. General Tark stood frozen, facing a decision no Imperial commander had ever had to make before. Fight against seemingly impossible odds, or be the first in the Empire's history to retreat. Behind him, his crew waited in tense silence for his command. General Tark stood frozen on the bridge of the Conqueror. The massive readings of human ships approaching from Jupiter filled the main screen. His officers waited for orders, the silence heavy with tension. Sir, his second-in-command finally spoke. We must make a decision. Tark's mind raced. The Empire had never retreated, not in 3,000 years, but the Empire had also never faced an enemy like this. Launch probes toward the incoming fleet, he ordered. I want visual confirmation. Several small probes shot out from the Imperial flagship, racing toward the supposed human armada. Minutes passed as the bridge crew waited. Probe data incoming, announced the sensor officer. The screen filled with images that made even the battle-hardened Tark take a step back. Thousands of warships moved in perfect formation. Some were massive, dwarfing even the Imperial planet destroyers. What Tark couldn't know was that he was seeing a masterful illusion. Earth had placed special devices around Jupiter that created holographic projections and false sensor readings. The massive fleet existed only as light and data. General, his communications officer called. We're receiving reports from across the Empire. Human ships have been detected in the Centauri sector, the Rigel system, and the Orion border zone. Tark's four eyes blinked rapidly. This was impossible. How could a species he'd never heard of until 2 weeks ago have such a vast military presence? Sir, the human captain is hailing us again, reported the communications officer. On screen, Tark ordered, his voice hollow. Captain Kim appeared, still wearing that calm expression that infuriated Tark. General, said Kim, your probes have seen our advance fleet. The main battle group will arrive within 1 hour. This is your final chance to withdraw your forces. Tark stared at the human. Was it possible he was bluffing? But the evidence seemed overwhelming. I will. Tark hesitated, the words feeling like poison in his mouth. I will consult with Imperial Command. In Earth's underground headquarters, the Defense Council watched the exchange on the main screen. Captain Kim's face showed on one side, General Tark's on the other. He's wavering, said General Hanul. Our deception is working. Ambassador Ji Young nodded. Impressive. But the next phase is even more critical. She turned to Lieutenant Min Ho Beck, who stood at attention nearby. He was the commander of Earth's newest vessel, the Phantom, the only true stealth ship humans had built. Lieutenant Beck, are you prepared for your mission? Ji Young asked. Yes, Ambassador, he replied confidently. My crew is ready. General Hanul addressed him seriously. This may be the most important mission of the entire operation. If you're captured, I know what to do. Beck interrupted with a slight smile. Continue the deception at all costs. On the bridge of the Conqueror, General Tark had made his decision. It went against everything he believed in, against 3,000 years of Imperial tradition, but the alternative seemed like suicide. Prepare the fleet for tactical repositioning, he ordered, unable to bring himself to use the word retreat. Sir, his sensor officer suddenly called out. I'm detecting a small vessel approaching from the human planet. It's using some kind of stealth technology. We almost missed it. On screen, Tark ordered. The view screen showed a sleek black ship moving directly toward the Imperial fleet. It was tiny compared to the Imperial vessels, but something about it caught Tark's attention. "Capture that ship," he commanded, his four eyes narrowing. "Use the tractor beams. I want to know what they're doing." Lieutenant Bayek felt the Phantom shudder as the Imperial tractor beam locked onto his ship. He exchanged looks with his small crew of 5. "Right on schedule," he said calmly. "Everyone remember the plan?" They nodded. Each had been carefully selected and trained for this mission. Each understood that they would likely be captured, and each knew exactly what to say. The Phantom was pulled into the massive docking bay of the Conqueror. Imperial soldiers surrounded. The small Earth vessel, weapons aimed and ready. "Power down all systems," Beck ordered. "And remember, look confident." General Tark watched as the 6 humans were brought to the bridge. They wore simple dark uniforms with no visible weapons. The lead human, a young-looking male, showed no fear despite being surrounded by armed guards. "I am General Tark of the Axian Empire," he announced. "You have been captured while approaching an Imperial fleet. Identify yourself." The human gave a small bow. "Lieutenant Minho Bayek, Scout Ship Phantom, 3rd Advanced Division of the Human Federation." "And what was your purpose in approaching my fleet alone?" Tark demanded. Beck smiled slightly. "Reconnaissance. Our main fleet wanted updated scans of your positions before they arrive." Tark leaned forward. "You expect me to believe you approached 200 warships for simple reconnaissance?" "With respect, General," Beck replied calmly, "your ships pose little threat to a Phantom-class vessel. If not for your lucky shot with the tractor beam, you wouldn't have even known we were here." One of Tark's officers whispered to him, "Sir, preliminary analysis shows their ship uses technology we've never seen before. The stealth systems are extraordinary." Tark circled the human lieutenant. "Tell me the truth about your fleet, human. How many ships does Earth really have?" Bake laughed. It was a sound so unexpected that even the Imperial Guard seemed startled. "Earth, our home planet, has a defensive force only. What's coming is the combined fleet of the Human Federation. 57 colony worlds, 3 galaxies, 10,000 years of expansion." He shook his head as if amused. "What you've seen is just our frontier guard. The real army hasn't even arrived yet. But they're coming." In the science lab of Earth's orbital station, Dr. Yejun Huang made the final adjustments to her creation. The device, no larger than a small car, represented 5 years of work by Earth's best scientists. "The FTL disruptor is ready," she announced to Captain Kim, who had returned to the station. "Once activated, it will prevent any ship within this star system from jumping to faster-than-light travel for approximately 6 hours. Kim examined the device. "And it won't affect our ships?" "No. We've calibrated it to target the specific frequency of Imperial FTL drives." Kim nodded. "Good work, Doctor. Prepare to activate on my command." He turned to the communications officer. "Contact General Hanul. Tell him it's time for the final phase." On the bridge of the Conqueror, General Tark had heard enough. The captured humans refused to show fear. Their story remained consistent. And worst of all evidence seemed to support their claims. "Prepare the fleet for immediate withdrawal," he ordered. "We will regroup at the Imperial border station and await reinforcements." "Yes, General," his second-in-command replied, not bothering to hide his relief. As the first Imperial ships began to power up their FTL drives, something strange happened. The drives activated, but failed to create the jump portals needed for faster-than-light travel. "What's happening?" Tark demanded. "Sir, the FTL drives are malfunctioning across the entire fleet," reported his chief engineer. "It's as if something is blocking the field generation." Lieutenant Bayek, still standing, with his crew under guard, smiled. "Ah," he said. "The disruptor must be active now." Tark turned to him, rage building in his eyes. "What do you mean? What is this disruptor?" "Just another piece of technology your empire hasn't discovered yet," Beck replied. "You're not going anywhere, General." At that moment, the sensor officer shouted, "General, the human fleet from Jupiter has accelerated. They'll reach our position in 20 minutes. And more ships are appearing from behind Earth's moon. For the first time in his 300-year life, General Tark felt true panic. His fleet was trapped. The humans had outmaneuvered him at every turn. And now, it seemed, the real human army was finally arriving. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Earth. In the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, representatives from 50 species sat in rising tiers of seats. For 3,000 years, this room had been dominated by the Axian Empire. Today was different. Ambassador Ji-Young Lee walked to the central platform, the first human ever to address the Galactic Council. She wore a simple blue uniform that represented Earth's unified government. "Distinguished representatives," she began, her voice calm but carrying throughout the chamber. "6 months ago, many of you had never heard of humans or Earth. Today, I stand before you as an equal." The chamber was silent. Every eye, whether 2 or 6 or none at all, focused on the human ambassador. The Axian Empire told you they were invincible. They told you resistance was futile. For 3,000 years you believed them. Ji-Young paused, looking around the room. "We proved that they were wrong." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The story of how a single planet had defeated an Imperial battle group had spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On the former Imperial capital world, Emperor Jules Carn faced the worst crisis in Imperial history. Reports came in hourly of rebellions on dozens of worlds. Species that had been conquered centuries ago were rising up, inspired by Earth's victory. How could this happen? He demanded of his advisors. One planet, one insignificant species. How could they cause so much damage? No, one had a good answer. The truth was still too shocking to accept. The mighty Axian Empire, ruler of 70% of the galaxy, was crumbling because of one small planet at the edge of space. "Your Majesty," said his chief advisor nervously. "The 7th Battle Group." "What about it?" snapped the Emperor. "General, Tark has officially surrendered the entire battle group to Earth. 187 ships, including 3 planet destroyers." The Emperor's 4 eyes widened in disbelief. "Surrendered? An Imperial general does not surrender." "He claims. He had no choice, Your Majesty. The humans had them completely surrounded and outmatched." The Emperor sank back in his throne. The empire that had stood for 3,000 years was falling apart in a matter of months. Admiral Tae-Won Kim, recently promoted from captain, stood on the observation deck of Earth's new orbital headquarters. The massive station had been built using technology from the captured Imperial ships. General Hanul joined him, looking out at the fleet of ships docked around the station. There were the 30 original Earth vessels, now joined by 20 more newly built ships and 15 converted Imperial cruisers. "Quite a change from 6 months ago," said the general, "when all we had was 30 ships and a good bluff." Kim nodded. "The Imperial ships that surrendered have been very useful. Their technology, combined with ours, is creating something entirely new." Below them, Earth shone blue and green against the blackness of space. For the first time in human history, the planet was truly united with a single purpose. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Ji-Ho from the doorway. "The delegation from the Centauri Alliance has arrived." Kim nodded. "Another group seeking alliance with Earth. We're becoming quite popular." "They fear us," said General Hanul quietly. "They think we have a massive fleet and thousands of colony worlds." "Should we tell them the truth?" asked Kim. "That it was all a deception? That we never had the numbers to win a prolonged war?" The general considered this. "Perhaps someday, but for now the myth serves a purpose." Lieutenant Minho Bayek, now Commander Bayek, led his team through the captured Imperial planet destroyer. The massive ship was a kilometer long, filled with technology humans were still learning to understand. "The weapon systems are now fully integrated with our control systems," reported engineer Seo Jin. "We've improved the efficiency by 30%. Bayek nodded with satisfaction. After his capture and the subsequent surrender of the Imperial fleet, he had been assigned to lead the conversion of Imperial ships for human use. "What about the FTL drive?" he asked. "Dr. Yejun has made remarkable progress," said Seo Jin. "She's Combine their faster-than-light technology with our theoretical models. The new hybrid drive is twice as fast as the Imperial version. Beck smiled. This was what humans did best. Take existing ideas and make them better. The Empire had ruled, through force and fear. Humans would build something different. In a small meeting room on the orbital station, Captain Sujin briefed a group of officers from newly liberated worlds. Representatives from species that had been under Imperial control for centuries listened intently. The key to our victory wasn't superior numbers, she explained. It was superior thinking. The Empire relied on brute force. We used deception, electronic warfare, and psychological operations. A tall, blue-skinned alien raised a hand. But the huge human fleet that surrounded the Imperial battle group, Sujin smiled, did not exist, at least not physically. We used holographic projections and sensor ghosts to create the illusion of thousands of ships. The aliens looked at each other in shock. You mean, you defeated the Empire's best general with only 30 ships? Asked another alien, this one with 6 eyes like the Axians. 30 ships, some clever technology, and the power of doubt, confirmed Sujin. Once they began to believe they were outmatched, they defeated themselves. The room was silent as the hour. Aliens processed this information. Then slowly they began to nod with new understanding. The Empire had been defeated not by a superior force but by a superior strategy. 6 weeks later, Admiral Kim and General Han Newell stood on the main platform of the spaceport, watching as diplomatic vessels from 20 formerly Imperial worlds docked one after another. Each carried leaders who wished to form alliances with Earth. Our intelligence reports that the Empire has lost control of 30% of its territory, said the general. Rebellions are spreading faster than they can contain them. Kim nodded. All because we convinced them that resistance was possible. Ambassador Ji Young approached them, having just returned from the Galactic Council. The Council has voted to recognize Earth as a full member, she reported, and 7 former Imperial worlds have requested our protection. Protection? Kim raised an eyebrow. They still think we have a massive fleet, don't they? Ji Young smiled. I've begun to explain the truth to some of them, that our victory came from innovation and courage, not from superior numbers. And how did they respond? Asked the general. With even more respect, said Ji Young. It's easier to gather a large fleet than to outsmart an enemy with minimal resources. They're starting to understand that now. As they watched more ships dock carrying representatives from across the galaxy, General Han Newell turned to Admiral Kim. Should we tell them all the truth now? He asked. That we never had the numbers to win a prolonged war? Admiral Kim looked out at the gathering of species from across the galaxy, former enemies, former Imperial subjects, all coming together to build something new. Some myths serve a purpose, General, he said thoughtfully. But I think they're not coming because they fear our imaginary armada anymore. They're coming because we proved that intelligence trumps intimidation. And that's the real lesson humanity needed to teach the galaxy. As diplomatic ships continued to arrive one by one, the words that had started it all echoed in Kim's mind. The real army hasn't even arrived yet. In the end, the real revolution wasn't an army at all. It was an idea that tyranny falls, not to superior force but to superior thinking. And that idea, unlike any holographic fleet, was very real indeed.